In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I use Affinity Photo, ImageR, and the RE software to create these neat, athletic LED backlit signs. Now, it's really important that when you actually start this, that the quality of your picture is going to determine the outcome of the acrylic engraving. So you want to have the best picture you can get. Sometimes you can get a good picture off of a cell phone, but you want to make sure it's good. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to mask out the background. So in Affinity Photo, I'm going to use the selection brush, and I'm going to use the left and right brackets to make it big and small, and then I'm going to select what I want to keep in my picture by holding down the left mouse button and dragging it over what I want to keep. And I'm not going to really worry if I get out of the lines yet, because we'll come back in a little bit and we'll actually take and improve our selection by removing stuff by using the Alt key and the left mouse button. So once you get the majority of it selected out, you can go back through and we can start looking to see where we need to actually refine our mask. And we'll see areas where the mask ran out and jumped off the stuff. So what we'll do is we'll take and we can make our brush smaller so that we can get a little bit more fine detail. And then we can actually take and remove stuff. You'll see like there, I just jumped out, so I'll use the Alt key and I'll click and bring it back in, and then I'll get rid of the stuff off of the car hood. And once I'm good there, I'll go down and now we'll remove the stuff in between the arms and the body here by doing the same thing, holding down the Alt key and the left mouse button, and then we'll take and we'll just drag it around, trying to keep it to where we're just highlighting the areas we don't want in the picture. And then we'll do the other arm as well. Once we got it to a good spot, we're going to go ahead and we'll just double check, making sure we get everything. So once we're happy with that, we're going to actually click on the Refine button up at the top in the context menu, and that's going to show us what our mask looks like. And it's going to turn everything red that is going to actually be outside of the selection. So now if we need to go in and refine this even more, we can use the foreground and the background buttons to determine what needs to be in the mask and what needs to be outside the mask, what's in the foreground versus what's in the background. And again, we use our left and right brackets to make our brush bigger or smaller in order to get the kind of detail that we want. And we're just going to go around and we're just going to take and clean this up a little bit. You'll see some places where it doesn't look very good. And once we're happy with it, we'll go ahead and click Apply. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go down in the bottom of the layers and we're going to click Mask Layer. And what that's going to do is that's going to create a mask that gets rid of the entire background, and all we're left with now is our runner. Now you'll notice there's still some places in our mask that doesn't look very good, and we want to clean those up. So if we make sure we highlight the mask button and then use the paintbrush tool, then we can use the black and white colors to include and remove stuff. So in this case here, we're going to use the black, and I'm going to go over and I'm going to delete stuff out of this mask so that it basically is not in our picture when we actually go to export it. And if we find that we actually did something and we need to add something back in, we can use white and click on it. And if we notice that our mask is a little off, we can go back to the mask brush and then go down and click to correct the mask. Or we can actually do Alt click to actually remove stuff from the mask that we may not want. Next, I'm going to take and we're going to zoom back out and we're going to crop the image to where all we have is just the runner. So we'll drag the sides and we'll get just the part that we want to export out. And when we got it where we like it, then we'll go ahead and click Apply. And now we've isolated the runner, and we've got as much of the background as possible. Next, we're going to take, because we're going to use ImageR to process this, and I only want the runner to stand out in the engraving, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a rectangle here, and we're going to make it black. And then we're going to put it behind our runner there. And in that way, when it processes it, it's going to only have the runner engraved. Next, we're going to go ahead and we'll save our image, because you may want to come back to it later, and then we're going to export it as a PNG. Once that's done, we're going to go over to ImageR, and we're going to bring that image in. And the first thing we're going to do in ImageR is we're going to set it to the size we want. Now, I make these normally 5 inches by 5 inches. So I'm going to select inches, and then I'm going to change the largest value to 5. And then I'm going to change my DPI to 500. And then click OK. And then next we're going to go ahead and we'll assign a material. So we're going to select New Acrylic and click OK. And you'll see what it does is it flips it and inverts it. And then we're going to go ahead and download it as a PNG. Once it's downloaded, we'll go ahead and we'll create a new project and drag and drop that into RE3. And then we'll go ahead and center it over our material. Now, I've got a material set up for this on my machine. I call it our acrylic engraving, so we'll go select that. And that sets my power and my speed to 2020. And the best way you're going to find out what works best is for you to do material test. Next, we're going to take and we're going to draw an ellipse, which is going to be the cutout for the acrylic. And so we're going to make this 5 inches by 5 inches. So we'll get it close, and then we'll go up in the section here, and we'll change the values to 5 and 5. Next, we'll select both the image and the ellipse, and we're going to align them center. And I'm just going to play around with this a little bit. I kind of like it, but I think I'll also just go ahead and default align center and then align middle, so that basically the runner is going to be centered in the ellipse. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to do the tab that's going to slide down into the LED base. And that is we're going to use a rectangle, and the width of that LED base is about 2.75 inches. So we're going to make a rectangle, and we're going to set it to a width of 2.7, and then we're going to drag it out to where that height is just about an inch. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to position that and center it with the ellipse. So we'll align center on the two, and we want to make sure that the rectangle goes right up over the bottom of that, so that when we create this union, that we have a nice circle with a rectangle in the bottom of it. And then we want to drag that down below our engraved image so that it cuts out last, and then I'll set the speed to 10, 100, 100. That's what I use for my computer. Now we're ready to send this off to the laser to be cut. And this is the result. And like I said, based on your image, the better you got, the better it comes out. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. If you got any questions, leave them down in the comments.